Hey guys, here we're talking about a practical application of algebra when it comes to applying for college. So let's get right into the problem. Most colleges have application fees, and this is absolutely true. So if you want to look into avoiding those costs or cutting the costs of application fees when applying for college, or if you know someone that is, stick towards the end of the video where I give you a few tips on how to do that. So let's keep going. If the average cost of a college application fee is $43, what is the maximum number of college applications can you afford with $628? The first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is pull out the relationships or the information I'm being given. Now, it says the average cost of a application fee is $43. So let's assume in this case, for every one application I apply for, I'm going to pay $43. The question says, what is the maximum number of college application fees that I can afford with $628? Well, in my relationship below, the money goes on the right-hand side, so $628. And I don't know how much or how many applications I can afford. And so looking at this relationship and these ratios, for every one I can buy, for every one I spend 43, how many can I afford if I spend $628? In this case, you can cross multiply, which simply means you can multiply the diagonals. Or in other words, the product of the diagonals should be equivalent. So in other words, x multiplied by 43 is equivalent or equal to 1 multiplied by 628. And look out for the video where we discuss this further about cross multiplication, why it works, and in what situation it doesn't work. Now let's keep going. The goal here is to isolate the x. The x is on the left-hand side of the equal sign. The thing or the item that's stopping that from happening is the 43. And so I need to remove the 43. Look at the relationship between x and 43. There are parentheses, and parentheses indicate the operation multiplication. And so in order to remove the 43, I have to apply opposite operations, and the opposite of multiplication is division. And so I have to divide by the thing I am trying to remove, and that is the 43. Now, what I do on one side of my equation, I have to do on the other side in order to keep that relationship, that equality true. And so if I divide by 43 on the left-hand side, I have to divide by 43 on the right-hand side. And I'm left with x is going to be equal to 14.61 approximately. Now take a look at this 0.61 at the end. Now people don't give out 0.61 applications. So what that means is the decimal part does not matter in this case. In actuality, I can only afford a maximum of 14 applications. Now, looking at this number, it seems like a lot, but in reality, you cannot actually apply for 14 schools because the application fees are going to be either higher than $43 or lower than $43. So if your application fees were exactly $43, then yes, you can apply for a maximum of 14 schools using $628. But let's go ahead and see ways in which you can avoid the fees. Want to know how to avoid these fees? Well, absolutely, if you're staying throughout this video. First of all, you want to get a waiver. Now, a waiver is pretty much an opportunity where you don't have to pay the application fees for a certain amount of colleges. And so where can you get these waivers from? Well, you can talk to your guidance counselor, absolutely. Your guidance counselor at your school would know where to find these waivers and also who would be eligible for these waivers as well. Next, you want to apply early. If you apply early, then colleges feel less stressed because you're applying at a time where they don't have a lot of paperwork when it comes to new students. And so you're actually helping them out. And so when you're helping them out, why not give you a waiver for applying to their school? Now, this is not every school, keep that in mind. But you may be able to find this benefit at certain schools you apply for. Third, apply online. You know, colleges, if you apply on paper, actually have to put all that information into an online database. That makes it harder for them to say let's waive the fee because they have to put in the work to actually do the application process. So if you apply online, you increase your chances of getting a waiver for the application that you're submitting. And once again, it helps them out. So they're most times would be interested in doing something like this. But like I said, it's not every school. So take a look at the schools that you're applying, ask if they have a waiver if you apply online, or you can simply type into the internet free college applications, and you can see what schools actually have that feature available. And lastly, alumni support. The good thing about alumni is that they've been in your shoes. So they know the expense and they know the experience of applying for multiple colleges. And so definitely maybe go to an alumni office, or if you personally know an alumni from that school, speak to them about perhaps getting a waiver and seeing how you can basically apply for as many colleges as you can. Now, the government also has some resources when it comes to avoiding college application fees and different programs that you can look into depending on your demographic, depending on where you're coming from. And they can say, okay, you can get a waiver to apply for a certain amount of colleges or even all of the colleges you want to. But definitely look into that, and I hope this was helpful.